Welcome to the class 10 students. Today I will be talking about the adaptation part of your syllabus in the from the chapter evolution and adaptation. I hope you have learned about evolution previously, and now I'll be talking about adaptation. Okay, so what is adaptation and how it is related to evolution? So you all know that the variety of organisms that we see nowadays is a result of evolution for hundreds of years. Adaptive features enable the organisms to make the best of the conditions which are in which it is living, and organisms which are not able to adapt themselves, they cannot live for longer and ultimately become extinct. Okay, so organisms which can adapt themselves to their environment may undergo genetic changes, or which we also called as mutation, and they ultimately produce new adaptations or new features within themselves, which we call as adaptation. Okay, the variety of living organisms um, which we see today is ultimately a result of evolution for hundreds and thousands of years, and where each variety is being modified gradually by adapting to that current environment of that organism. Okay, thus adaptation is the cause, and evolution is the effect or the outcome. Okay, now we will be talking about the types of adaptations. Basically, there are two types of adaptations. One is structural adaptation, and the other one is behavioral adaptation. Now, structural adaptation, obviously, it is found. It is also known as a morphological adaptation, and obviously, it is seen in the physical features of the organism. And behavioral adaptation is the action carried out by an organism under the control of the nervous system. Okay, so these are the two basic types of adaptations that are seen in organisms as a result of evolution. Now we will talk about the different adaptive features that have developed in different organisms. For example, first we will talk about the adaptive features in cactus. At first, let's talk about the morphological adaptive features of cactus. So, you all know that cactus is a xerophytic plant, meaning it has the means to survive in desert conditions. Okay, and in cactus, as you can see in this picture, the leaves are small and very much less in number, and in this picture you can really not see any leaves because they are modified into sharp pointed spines or spikes, as you can see here, this one. So okay, so these are the spikes. This one, here, everywhere. All the yellow ones are the spikes, which are nothing but modified leaves. Okay, and these are small and quite less in number than other trees, and they are very much sharp and pointed. Okay, this modification of the leaf into spines help in checking loss of water by transpiration, since there is already very scarcity of water in the desert areas, and transpiration is a, as we have learned previously, that transpiration is known as necessary evil, because it is necessary for the plants, and it also causes harm to the plant. So to totally stop that, this leaves, if the leaves are not there, then transpiration will obviously not take place. So the leaves have been modified into spines, so that the loss of water through transpiration can be checked. Okay, these spines also help in defensive mechanism of the plant. Means, if suppose if any animal is trying to eat the plant, then these spikes or spines can protect the plant. Okay, and the other adaptive features include thick waxy skin or thick waxy leather-like plant and large fleshy stems. Here, large fleshy stems and thick waxy skin and shallow widespread roots. So these are the morphological adaptive features of cactus. In this picture, you can see the anatomy of a fish and all the internal organs of a fish. Along with it, you can see the swim bladder. You can see the swim bladder here, okay, this white one. Okay, so what is a swim bladder? The swim bladder of a bony fish is a thin-walled sac which is elongated in shape, as you can see here, elongated in shape, and is filled with gases. It is located on the dorsal side of the body cavity below the vertebral column. Now, what is the structure or what are the parts of a swim bladder of a fish? It consists of two chambers. Okay, it is not properly seen here in this picture. There will be one like this and then like this. Okay, so there should be a constriction where this one is the anterior one, which is the smaller one, and this is the posterior one, which is the larger one. The bladder is supplied with blood capillaries called retia mirabilia or red gland. Retia mirabilia or red gland, and the swim bladder is connected with the gut by a small duct known as pneumatic duct. Okay, and this bladder, now coming to the function of the bladder, this is a hydrostatic organ. That means it helps the fish to swim. When the fish absorbs gases into the sac, body becomes lighter in weight and the buoyancy increases and the fish floats up. On the contrary, when gases go out of the sac, the body becomes heavier in weight and the buoyancy of the fish, of its ability to remain floating, decreases, and as a result the fish sinks down because the body weight increases. Okay, so contraction of body muscle causes increase or decrease of volume in the air, volume of air in the sac, allowing the fish to swim freely at different desired depth of water. Means if this fish has to go up towards the surface of water, it can just decrease or increase its body weight accordingly, and then go to its desired depth of water. Okay, so this is all about the hydrostatic organ of fish, which is the swim bladder. Okay, so coming next to the morphological features of air sacs of bird. Okay, and these air sacs are especially found in birds which can fly. For example, pigeon, found inside the lungs of flying birds. Okay, and these are supplementary organs along with lungs, because lungs are obviously there for normal breathing purposes, but for flying birds, since they fly over for a long period of time over seas or oceans, they need supplementary organs to help them do that flight. Okay, and these are known as air sacs. As you can see in this picture, there are only 6 of them can be seen. The other are on the other side. There are generally 9 major air sacs and 4 minor air sacs, and in the air sac no alveoli are found. You all know what is alveoli. So since no alveoli, no gaseous exchange takes place within the air sac, but what it does is that it only stores warm air. This air makes the body light in weight, and as a result it helps to increase the buoyancy of the body, which in turn is helpful for flight over the ocean, for a long-term flight. Okay, and this is the basic morphological features of birds, means having this air sac which helps them in flight.